Hello and welcome to ERP Radio, your recovery resource. My name is Jennifer Stewart. Joining me is my great co-host, Ben Emmerling. May is Self-Discovery Month, so our topic today is Your Vibe is Your Tribe. I love this topic.
I love it too, Jen.
Yeah, because it's so true. We are who we surround ourselves with, right, Ben?
Absolutely. Especially when you're in a change like this, you have to change everything instead of just one thing.
Right.
Yeah, your vibe is your tribe. Let's hear some questions that you got for me.
Yeah, I do, because I know your social scene has changed a ton. For the better, though. So did your recovery change your relationships and social activities?
I have to first start off by saying when I was using drugs for a majority of the time being, I didn't have any relationships with people. Because I mainly just isolated, and towards the end I would just call my parents for money, and they wouldn't give it to me, so I'd stop calling them because they were no need to me. As bad as that sounds, that's how it was, and I didn't want to talk to my brothers and sisters because they knew I was struggling, and I didn't want them to hear the pain in my voice. That was the biggest change, was actually building relationships.
Ooh, I like that.
And so now, obviously, I have relationships with people, whether it's close friends, family, obviously, even extended family. To answer your second question about social activities, absolutely, because my old scene when I was using drugs was, drug dealers' houses, parties, frat parties, college parties. Someone's parents are out of town, we're at their house getting high, or just any scene where I could freely, get as intoxicated as possible.
Right.
So yeah, I had to change all my social activities. Now, I find fun in simple things, going to movies, hanging out at a friend's house, going out to dinner, going, out to wherever I want. But,
wow.
I definitely avoid bar scenes and parties.
Do you have to make adjustments to existing relationships or activities?
Absolutely, especially being in recovery and going to meetings and stuff, you don't know what's going to happen. You could build a close relationship with somebody and think they're going to do great and stay sober, and then next thing you know, they're out getting high, and it's my responsibility is not to hold their hand while they're getting
That's
high.
Right.
Even though I might love the kid and it might be my best friend, if they're getting high, I got to let them do their own thing.
That's right.
And I got to avoid them. And also, adjustments. I've had relationships with girlfriends where things got out of hand, whether it be drinking or drug use, and it was toxic to my well-being, and it was, hurting my serenity, and nothing is more important to me than my sobriety. So if anything gets in that way, then I'm going to cut it off immediately. I mean, I know that sounds kind of selfish.
No.
But I know every day I wake up, I'm fighting for my life. If I pick up a drink or a drug, God knows what's going to happen. If anything gets in the way of me trying to stay sober, then I got to get rid of them immediately.
Exactly. I 100% agree with you. Do you have tips about how to handle relationships during or after rehab?
But when I got out of rehab, my family were used to the old behaviors and old activities that I did, and they were so worried about me relapsing that it was almost like everybody was walking on eggshells around me. Yeah. And until one day I just told my mom, look, everything's going to be fine. Let me do what I'm doing and don't worry about me. Until that's what was a turning point in our relationship, where she finally, that was the first probably 10% of trust that I got, and it just bounced off from there. And how to handle other situations and relationships, if somebody's not supporting you, and you're not close to them, why bother trying to maintain this relationship?
Right.
Because they're clearly not out for your best interest. I know that's hard to do, but I had to get rid of tons of friends that I thought were really close friends, but when I got sober and they weren't there for me, and I'd still call them to hang out, and they would just want to get high. It's I don't have anything in common with these kids anymore. They just want to get stoned.
And that was probably a blessing in disguise that those friendships dissolved.
Well, all those kids are still doing the same things,
exactly,
So.
Exactly. So do rehab centers, 12-step programs, other treatments help you make changes to your social environment? And if so, how?
Well, starting off with rehab centers, when you're in, or the rehab centers I went to emphasize the 12-step program.
Right.
And with that, we were taken to meetings, and that's where I kind of learned there's a social environment of sober young people and sober people in general. Yeah, that's definitely how I changed my social environment, definitely, because, without that, I'm not going to have any social life at all. All my best friends now are between my age and a couple years younger and a couple years older, and they're all sober, and I met them all in 12-step programs, 12-step meetings, I'll say. That's who I hang out with,
Right.
because we understand each other.
Because your vibe is your tribe.
Exactly.
That's why.
My vibe is my tribe, and without these strong support group that I have that I met in these 12-step program, I wouldn't be here today.
That's right.
Because everybody's got their back. It's not like my old friendships where it's like we all keep each other accountable at all times.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like if somebody's slacking and acting a weird way, we'll call them out on it immediately. Like, hey, bud, what are you doing? Like, why are you acting like
Right.
this? Like,
Right.
that's dangerous
And
to your
still,
health.
it's nice to have people in your life that are more cheerleaders and that inspire you than people that are bad influence or drag you down.
Well,
you know?
that's exactly what this 12-step programs they emphasize.
Right.
It's the only place I've ever gone in my life where you go and everybody wants you to succeed.
Mm-hmm.
Because how the world works is you go places and everybody wants you to fail.
That's
So,
true.
I mean, that's the dark truth of it. But in these programs, you go in and people are like, hey, do you need help with anything? Let me show you how I did it so maybe it can help
Exactly.
you. So
Exactly. And that's what we all need to really surround ourselves with, is those people that inspire you in life. Great. Well, thank you, Ben. And again, if you or a loved one is suffering from addiction, please don't hesitate and give us a call. We'll give you our phone number. It's 844-548-3407. Your phone call is completely confidential, and we have counselors on site 24/7. We thank you so much for listening in, and join us next week.
and remember, your vibe is your tribe.
Always.